I challenge you to find anybody on the internet that does not love Henry Cavill, especially when it comes to actors that run in these very nerd-centric properties. And that is why almost everyone and their mother was excited for the announcement of Henry Cavill starring in the upcoming Warhammer 40k project by Amazon. And now it looks like there's a chance that that is not happening. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol. And yes, Games Workshop and Amazon have until December 2024 to agree creative guidelines for Henry Cavill's Warhammer 40k film and TV series, or they won't happen. This would be not altogether unexpected, especially after we saw with the female custodes argument that happened a couple months ago, but it still would be an absolute kick to the dick, because if anyone was going to ensure that this project was done properly, that it was done with the love and care and heart that's supposed to be done, it would be Henry Cavill. I mean, that is everybody knows that's the open secret as to why he left his position on The Witcher, was because Netflix was destroying and just pissing on the source material to the point where he was rewriting scenes to have just some sense of accuracy, and he was given shit for that by people in the industry. Meanwhile, actual fans and people that wanted source material accurate, adaptations or whatever it may be, were lauding the man, because that's what we clamor for. That's what we would love to pay for, is source material accurate and well-written adaptations. Well, of course, Amazon seems to be potentially pushing back, or maybe it's Games Workshop pushing back. Honestly, not entirely sure, but I can guarantee you that behind closed doors, it does have to do with this female custodes stuff, and now it might be the reason this show never sees the light of day. We're going to get in this article before we do hit that subscribe button. Games Workshop has reiterated that Amazon's hotly anticipated Warhammer 40k film and TV series will not happen unless both parties can agree to creative guidelines by December 2024. Speaking in its annual financial report, Games Workshop discussed the deal that granted exclusive rights to Amazon films and television series set within Warhammer 40k universe, with an option for Amazon to license equivalent rights in the Warhammer fantasy universe following the release of the initial 40k production. And I get it. Look, Amazon is not exactly going to be my go-to in hopes for an amazing adaptation, but by the same token, they also aren't the worst of the bunch either. Amazon has done a good job with things like the Terminal List, with things like Fallout. And then they've got equally, dog shit. Like, I guarantee you the upcoming God of War show is going to be terrible. The Boys is a wonderland and treasure trove of degradation and destruction to I wouldn't even say famous franchise, because the Boys isn't exactly that famous, which is probably why they can get away with completely pissing on the source material. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, Amazon's a mixed bag when it comes to getting things right and making palatable TV shows. They got some misses, they got some hits. And Warhammer is very much going to be one of those things that if it were not for Cavill's involvement, everyone would assume would be a complete miss. But his dedication was something that had fans eager and open arms for this project. In December 2023, Games Workshop said it will work with Amazon for a period of 12 months ending in December 2024 to agree creative guidelines for films and television series to be developed by Amazon, and that agreement will only proceed if the creative guidelines are mutually agreed upon between Games Workshop and Amazon. Now, if you guys remember, there was a conspiracy theory rolling around a couple months ago when the female custodes stuff happened, that the whole reason Games Workshop made that change, just decided to piss away years of lore, is because Amazon more or less demanded it. That way they could find a way to include more DEI hires in their upcoming 40k show. And there was also rumors that if this was true, Cavill was going to bounce. He was going to say, deuces, the same for me, because this is not Warhammer. Now, those claims were never substantiated. However, now we got this article stating, they got 5 months left to come to an agreement, and still one hasn't been reached. It's looking more and more like that was the case. Amazon strong-armed Games Workshop into making changes to the lore. That way the live-action adaptation could be more palatable to the modern audience, an audience that doesn't exist. But if that was the case, then why would they be having trouble coming to an agreement now? I don't know. Maybe it's because Henry is the holdout, and he's saying, we do this my way, or we don't do it at all. And it's got Amazon and Games Workshop, both who know how key and instrumental he is to the project's success, putting him in kind of a rock and hard place scenario. Again, it's speculation. I don't actually know, but would it really surprise anybody? I mean, if it weren't for his name being attached to this, you're not going to get the normies. You're really not. Look, Warhammer 40k is amazing. I played it multiple times. I think it's great, but Dude, it is not accessible. As someone who plays Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering every chance I can get, as a massive fan of those properties, dude, it's not accessible even to me. Like, again, the times I've played it, I've loved it. It's been a lot of fun to play Warhammer 40k. But I don't know anything about the lore. I don't know anything about the overarching world. I just heard, oh, Space Pirate Dark Elves? That sounds cool, and rolled with it, and that was the army I chose. Like, I knew next to nothing. Because of that, Warhammer is so expansive. Well, expensive as well, but Warhammer is so expansive that you have to dedicate time, effort, and money to really get into it. Now, mind you, time is something that liberal lefty activists have in spades. Effort and money, not so much. I mean, they ain't got that whatsoever. You think these freaks are going to get into Warhammer 40k? No. You think the average normie is going to get into Warhammer 40k when it has got 12 times the lore of something like The Lord of the Rings or Star Wars? Still no. So you need a recognizable, friendly, charismatic face like Cavill to draw that audience in. I think that him being the holdout's the only thing that makes sense as to why they've not come to an agreement yet, since we've seen Games Workshop decide to piss on the lore and bow and kowtow to the, again, non-existent modern audience. We will update you accordingly, Games Workshop said, like a Space Marine might tell a Guardian anxious about a coming battle. That means Game Workshop and Amazon have just 5 months to sort themselves out, or the Warhammer 40k movie and TV series fans of the grimdark universe so desperately want might never happen. If the Warhammer 40k Amazon projects move forward, Superman actor and Warhammer 40k superfan Henry Cavill will be involved. The Hollywood actor is set to star in and executive produce. That is very important to remember. He is the executive producer on this, meaning he's got his hands in both sides of the pie, the Warhammer 40k franchise across all Amazon Studios productions. While concrete details on shows and films are likely a way off, Cavill nonetheless sounded excited to be bringing the grimdark universe to life. I have loved Warhammer since I was a boy, making this moment truly special for me. The opportunity to shepherd the cinematic universe from its inception is quite the honor and responsibility, said Cavill. I love how he said responsibility, because Henry Cavill is a man known for his absolute work ethic. He goes in, he shuts the fuck up, he does his job, he clocks out, and he comes back to do it again the next day. Homie knows something about responsibility and personal accountability, which are things that are going to be absolutely necessary to make a project like this work. You can't go in half-cocked all willy-nilly. I couldn't be more grateful for all the hard work put in by Vertigo, Amazon, and Games Workshop to make this happen. One step closer to making a nigh-on lifelong dream come true. In February, Cavill touched again on the Warhammer 40k Amazon project, saying, "It is the greatest privilege of my professional career to have this opportunity. I can't say too much. Again, it's the early days still, but to have this opportunity to bring it to screen and be the tiller so it can be faithful is key to me." So it can be faithful, and yet we see that there is still agreements between the two companies that have not been agreed upon yet. With 5 months to go, it is getting down to the wire. Is this going to be another case of Henry Cavill having something beautiful and it getting snatched away from him, like we saw with his role as Superman, like we saw with his role in The Witcher, or just the Witcher adaptation as a whole? I mean, this is, they say third time's the charm, but there's also 3 strikes and you're out, and this falling apart, I'm worried this could actually be career-ending for Cavill to be taken seriously as a leading man, because at this point, producer, full creative control, a project and a property that he has immense love and care for. And the douchebags on the back end want to argue over probably money and politics, the two things that the viewer don't give a good goddamn about. It's honestly insanely frustrating as somebody that just wants to see this succeed, both because I want to see good adaptations of fan favorite nerd IPs actually be brought out so that, individuals can see why we love the things we've loved for so many years. It also makes me upset as a Cavill fan who wants to see him get the fair shake he should be getting in Hollywood after being, just dispatched so many times unjustly. And again, here we are, and it might not. I don't want to be pessimistic and say it won't happen. You know what? Maybe 5 months is plenty of time. I mean, maybe the back end door deals can be fixed tomorrow, and this video will be completely and utterly irrelevant. I don't know too much about the ins and outs of Hollywood. I have to ask my boy, the Coach MC, about that. But I guarantee you, if I show him this article, seeing as he's worked in that industry his entire adult life, yeah, he'll probably have some thoughts on this and be able to clarify it up. So you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. After I'm done, I'm going to send this article to Coach and get his opinion. So until then, these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. Not always about the streaming giants or Amazon, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved with over 80 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further, because we do care about diversity, but only one kind of diversity of thought. So if that sounds interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.